Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. There's a time in a dungeon master's life where he gets to just sit back a little bit. Because I game master from my home in this nice comfy chair, to put on a nice warm bathrobe on a winter day, settle back with my cushions and pillows, have something fanciful to drink. Now some popcorn. Popcorn is the important part here, because popcorn implies spectacle. You go to the circus, you get your peanuts and your popcorn. You go to the baseball game, get some popcorn. Go to the movies, you get some popcorn, because you're about to sit back and watch something. What's going to take up those other sensory channels? Something to help you focus your attention so you don't have a feeling of hunger or a little anything distracting you from what is in front of your eyes, whether it is acrobats on the high wires or someone making their 60th home run or a D&D player who has had enough. Ah, man. They told me I shouldn't drink on streams, but I have to keep my throat lubricated. So I got to drink. I certainly shouldn't eat on streams, but you know, I'm owed a little popcorn this time. This particular popcorn is a lovely organic white popcorn, which my brilliant and culinarily minded son has doctored up to be truffle oil popcorn for me, which means it's got to be for something spectacular. I get this special reward every so often. I'm going to talk about my Wednesday game a bit. And, you know, Wednesday game group, if you're watching, no spoilers, you've all seen this happen. You all know what's coming. Now, whether it is a factor that we are gaming online via Discord these days, or that sometimes the Warriors on Wednesday are a little bit, they plan things out. They like to get a lot of input before they take a proper action. They want to know what's going on around them. And so, of course, I keep things moving around them too fast for them to really figure it out quite often. There are big gaps of silence where I am expecting someone to give me an answer or a reaction or commentary, and nothing happens. Well, keeping the conversation and the game moving is my job as the Dungeon Master, so you keep things happening. If there is an absence of action from the party, an NPC is there to take some kind of action, no problems. Until it's been going in a chain and they kind of get swept along. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're aware that at any point in time, someone can speak up and say, wait a second, we're not going to go in that direction, or we need to sit down and have a chat about this and actually have the conversation. I love the conversation to happen. The conversation's a good thing. You want the conversation to happen so that you get to hear what people's thoughts are, where people are at. See if anyone's got a better idea than what you've got going in your head at the moment. And when you don't get that, that doesn't mean things stop happening. Quite the opposite. It means things have to happen maybe a little bit faster. Maybe more things happen. Maybe your paladin group, who is dispatched to build a bridge, suddenly finds themselves flying through astral space on a boat. Yes, I introduced Spelljammer to them. I'm not going to go through the pain of reviewing Spelljammer 5e to use none of the material. I'm going to do some spelljamming sections in this game now, just because I can, and I think I can do it better than it was written. And, you know, if I do, I'll let you know how that goes. In the meantime, paladins in space. And in astral space, and the more I can keep them over their heads, the funnier it gets for everyone involved, and watching them struggle to make it to the next level of their adventure and development, wonderful. They get this habit of waiting for the dungeon, waiting for the fight. Events are going to happen, and they're going to talk to people, and they've had some wonderful conversations with some of the NPCs. NPCs I've really wanted them to have conversations with. They've got good information. They've collected a lot of stuff. They know who the big bad guy is. There's a couple of side missions I would really like to take them on because it plays into some stuff that they've decided they're going to do with the game. Awesome. And then things go quiet for a little bit, and suddenly they're underground on a vastly far planet of higher dwarves and involved in politics and marriages and all kinds of difficulty. And suddenly they're looking at time in an arena fighting against suitors for the hand of a fair dwarven maiden. And well, you keep cliffhanging at the end of these things. You make these announcements at the end of the night, around about 8 o'clock when everyone's ready to stop playing. Cut it off for the week. Well, any more questions? Any comments? Let's come at this next week. And you give them time to think. And I got my reward this week. My reward is the Dungeon Master this week. And that is one of the players coming into the Discord and typing out, anyone mind if I make a scene this next session? And my response was, I'm getting popcorn. A couple of folks threw popcorn icons. There's going to be a show. There's going to be a spectacle. I almost don't have to run the next session. Because I've got a player who wants to make a scene. And literally, making scenes is what the Dungeon Master does. I've set up all the elements. I've put things in place. I have painted pictures of environments beyond imagination. Well, not beyond my imagination, obviously. And put the characters in what could be a very good situation or a very bad situation, depending on how things go. But it might be a little bit much for some of them socially or intellectually. There's a couple of characters in there with intelligence as dump stats. And, well, someone wants to make a scene. Rightfully so, mind you. There's been a lot happening around them, a lot that they've just been reacting to, a lot that's been happening not faster than any party could handle it, just faster than I think this party generally thinks and acts. So, when something happened, when someone finally decided to take their reaction, it wasn't just going to be based off of what has just happened. It's going to be stuff stacking up. It's going to be the situations that they're in and the stresses that they've been put under and the demands that have been placed on these people welling up to a boiling point. And now someone has announced the intention to make a scene. Oh, and that is right now in my mind, I'm drawing the maps I'm going to lay down. I'm getting some of the NPCs assembled in the wings, getting ready. I've got scenes in my head, but nothing gets laid down on the table until I hear what this player has decided to do. Normally, the flow of action in a D&D game is the Dungeon Master sets the scene and gives the players the situation that they're in, and the players give the Dungeon Master their reactions to what is happening there, and then the Dungeon Master adjudicates what happens as a result of those actions, and the chain reaction starts. And campaign. That's usually how it runs. But sometimes Sometimes you sit down at the table and the player says, I got something I got to do. And that is when I have my most fun. I've had players in the past hold up the. I would like to end the game for the night. No, I got one more guy I got to deal with. I got one target I got to hit, and then we can and then can I just hit one target, and then that turns into a half-hour fight scene between the guy and his half eldritch offspring and their car that is actually a Shoggoth wearing body panels of a Chevrolet as body armor. Um, that was a whole thing, but that's what happens when someone. I just got to do a thing. I love it when someone's got to do a thing because there's a universe in my head ready to react to what other people do. Just as I give situations and I'm waiting for the reactions of the players to forward the action. I've got everything else in that game world that is ready, quivering on their toe tips, waiting for a player to do something. And that's not a giant fly swatter waiting to come down. It's not rocks fall, everyone dies. There is a whole bunch of real interaction that needs to be had there of NPCs who want to see what these people can do, or who are governments that are waiting to see how dangerous these folks are and gauge their reactions. All this stuff based on what the players have their characters do. And so I like to reward that announcement that I got something I got to do. I got a scene I got to make. I'm going to step up and do something about this now because I've had just about enough. That's the moment. Oh, that's my popcorn moment. That is the moment that I get to. I'm still going to be adjudicating. I'm going to be doing the dice rolls and doing the dungeon master thing. But I'm almost not in charge at that point in time. Or at least not when we start out. That is when someone announces their intentions. Usually to do something that is either impressive or generates an amount of mayhem or both. I don't know how this is going to go. I know the player pretty well. I know the character pretty well. Even though I keep calling him by the wrong name. But I don't know how they're going to react to this situation. I don't want to know. I want to be guessing. I want to have things set up in the wings that never get used. I want to have to spend all this time. Well, I've got maps and I've got characters ready to go, but I'm not going to put too much effort into that because at any moment, well, all of this goes out the window, and now I need to come up with some stuff off the top of my head and draw a map and marker on the screen really fast so that we've got something. Because, I don't know, could get good. Oh, it's going to get good. That's another thing about having players that you trust. And it's not just a matter of, is everyone going to play together okay? Everyone plays together okay. Again, because we're doing the online Discord thing, there's crosstalk and things get missed, and sometimes it slows things down a little bit when you have to have folks repeat or have someone clarify, or a couple of people start talking over one another and you got to orchestrate how that conversation goes. But for the most part, socially, my groups are fine. They're really, really good at taking turns. But what I'm talking about the trust here is any one of the players in the Warriors of Wednesday, frankly, any of the players I've got in any game I'm running these days, I know they're going to put on a good show. They are going to not only have a reaction at some point in time that's going to be popcorn worthy, but it is going to be big top ballpark movie screen, IMAX theater worthy. I'm going to have a scene acted out in front of me that I'm going to be part of, I currently, it's 2 days from now. I have no idea how it's going to play. All I know is, Wednesday I'm going to be feeling a little tired. I'm usually tired on Wednesdays. Often early in the day is a chemical vacation for me. I need to lay off some of the medications to help my brain work properly. I'll take something a little bit later in the day to get myself going a little bit. I'm going to feel like crap around about 3 o'clock. I'm going to feel like maybe I don't want to do the game. See if folks are maybe don't want to do it. But then I'll remember, hey, wait, someone wants to make a scene. I'll get there. And I'll sit down at my computer and I'll get on my headphones and get everything booted up and started. And we'll start playing. And in 15 minutes, I'll forget I was tired. I'll forget that I was tired there at all. In 20 minutes, 25, I'm going to be focused and on top of my game and on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what happens next, pulling up voices for NPCs and having the entire world react to what the characters are doing. And by the time 8 o'clock rolls around and it's time for me to say, well, we need to end this for the week, I'm not going to want to. Yeah, I'm going to get another bowl of this on Wednesday. Yeah, the truffle oil is a really good move. I'm very, very pleased with this particular bowl of popcorn. And not knowing what's going to happen, that's a big chunk of why I do the improvisational role-playing, the improvisational dungeon mastering. Because I'd like to be surprised the same way that my players are. I would like to discover things as they discover them. And if I don't know what's happening going in, where technically that's what's happening, I might know a minute or so beforehand. I might get some inkling. I have some idea. I might have a little bit of an agenda, but what the players do is going to throw all that out the window, and we're going to have an adventure together. Never more than when someone tells me they're going to make a scene. I got something I got to do. We've had about enough of this. It's about time we took some action. Oh gosh, phrases that make me get popcorn. And the dice rolls are going to go badly because dice rolls go badly. Got a player who's across 5 different online platforms has rolled ones, almost a third of their rolls for the past month or so. And it's heartbreaking and hilarious all at the same time, and we'll see what happens as a result. You can hedge your bets a lot, but a one's a one. There's just a lot of entropy and chance, and the one thing, it's a gamble. You don't know if you're going to win, you don't know if you're going to lose. Are you going to win this fight? You're going to lose this fight. You get to save versus that spell. Is this even going to work? But the one thing that is not left to chance when you've got a group that you trust and you've painted all the pictures and someone is ready to do what they got to do, man, that's the statement. That's Popeye pulling out the can of spinach and saying, I've had all I can stand. I can't stand no more. You knew some shit was going down when Popeye made that declaration. And then it's popcorn time. I'm going to make a scene. Popcorn time. Because my players do not do things in half measures. And if they're going to make a scene, fire, explosions, lightning, clowns. There's just going to be a whole bunch of stuff there that ready to come out in the wings. Ready. Do you need fire? Are there going to be clowns? Do we need to stampede horses through this scene? There weren't horses there before, but I know that's not going to stop you people. What do you want to do? Popcorn games. You call D&D a beer and pretzel games, where often you're playing beer and pretzel games. Little pickup games, things you can just have a snack or something while you're doing it. Something you get around, it's almost a social time. You got beer, you got pretzels, you're rolling dice. They're not all beer and pretzel games. Sometimes they are popcorn games. Sometimes they are games where you're going to be laughing so hard you're going to have tears coming down your cheeks. Or you're going to get so involved in the action. You're going to get the end of that roll and sit back and realize all your muscles are tense because you're getting your fight and flight kicked up just a little bit, and you got to power it down. Have a little popcorn. Carry on. You want to have a popcorn game of your own? Forsake anything that is like subtlety or nuance. It has its place. It absolutely has its place. But every so often, even the most subtle, nuanced character has to bust out with blowing stuff up. And when you get to the blowing stuff up stage, when you get to the wizard's duel stage, or the Phoenix Wright courtroom scene, when you get to that moment that belongs on a big screen and everyone's leaning forward in their seats, give them opportunities to have this. Lay out a set of scenarios that's their choice. Go where you want to go, do what you want to do, but at the end of those scenarios, there's a problem. There's something in their way. There's something in their way, and it can be the meanest villain, or it can be the most polite diplomat, letting them know that they've come to the end of this line and things are only going to get harder from here. And well, let's lay another couple of steps in front of you. At some point in time, one of your players is going to have to make a scene. Maybe all your players are going to have to make a scene. That's a great moment when your players just look at one another and go, okay, it's on. Popcorn and beverages and sitting back, and it takes a little practice. Yeah, you have to know your group, know yourself, have a grasp on the scenario, but not the details, and nudge things in the right direction. Or you let folks fly in the direction that they're going to fly, and just whatever you think is going to get that moment to happen just ends up in front of them. Because it's a big world out there full of stuff that you have filled it with. So whatever you need in front of them gets in front of them. And you see, is this what they're going to deal with? Nuance their way through? Are they going to turn this into a stealth mission? Is this going to be nice and quiet? Or are they going to go loud? Because when the group goes loud, I've got popcorn. Just a thought. Well, thanks for following me along in this particular ramble and my adventure with my truffle popcorn. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, give me a thumbs down. What's your popcorn moment? What popcorn moments have you had in your games? Or what popcorn moments would you like to have in your game? Anything else you'd like to hear me talk about, questions you'd like to hear me answer, go ahead, leave me a comment down below. I will love getting your comment. You'll love leaving me one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not? My channel is awesome. Go ahead and hit the subscription button. If you do, you might want to hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when my videos become available. If you would like to contribute to my channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up on my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorm, and consider donating. Absolutely anything helps. Allows me to make better videos more often. Meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm Scott Corum with my bowl of popcorn. This is what has mattered to me, and I'll see you next time on the next Matters of DeCorum.